Welcome to Determined Women of Destiny, powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. I am your host, Yvonne the Motivator Man. This is the show that gives you the business, the good, the bad, and the beautiful of female entrepreneurship, providing business empowerment through inspirational motivation. I welcome to the show Erica Kirby, and she is a woman that is doing a remarkable job with helping mothers that have had stillbirths. I'm going to let Erica tell you about her journey and how she started her foundation, which is Madison's Foundation. Am I correct, Erica?
Madison Faith Foundation.
Madison Faith Foundation. Welcome to the show, Erica.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I saw your video on Facebook and was so intrigued at the journey that you took and how your daughter inspired you to start the foundation. So tell us all about that.
Well, the journey was an unexpected journey, as anyone in this situation would experience. And so it was birthed out of my pain. And basically that pain came from normal pregnancy, going through, all my checkups, all my checkpoints and different things, everything naturally. Baby was growing fine, very active movement and everything. Found out the gender and found that it was a girl, was ecstatic, though she was a surprise to myself and my husband. We were excited and we had started making provisions. And during the height of COVID, at the pinnacle of COVID, I went to the hospital because she was not moving. There was no movement for about 12 hours. So, routinely you go to the hospital and make sure everything is fine. And all of a sudden the doctors come in and tell me, we're sorry, we have no heartbeat. And just that pain and that jolt is just something that I will never forget, because again, it was the height of COVID. So I was by myself in the hospital, all alone, just me and the doctors. And I just didn't know what to do. And so they called my husband in, he came in, they explained to us, and I had to really process and realize that this was another chapter. So not only was I now preparing for my child, I was now preparing to deliver and bury my child, all within the matter of a day or two, because the day before she was fine, she was moving, everything was going well, and then things just turned. So that is how Madison Faith actually began. It began out of my pain and not wanting females to not feel a sense of aloneness and not be able to, if they didn't have a support system, to be a support system that, this is, although it's tragic, it is common, and you're not the only one that's going through this, and we can go through this together. So that's really how it came to pass.
So how many months pregnant were you when you went to the hospital that day?
I was ending my second trimester, 3 days away from my third trimester.
Okay.
So I was pretty close to completing. And the thing about it was that my first pregnancy was a traumatic pregnancy, where I was, after my first trimester, I was completely home ridden on a 24-hour PICC line. Where I was severely dehydrated, developed a numerous amount of different health-related issues, hypertension. I was severely dehydrated, like I said. I couldn't hold anything down. I was literally drinking capsize of water just to kind of have something in me outside of the fluid. The smell of food made me sick, different things like that, which are common things in pregnancies. But as it being my first pregnancy, it was quite traumatic. So to find out that I was pregnant again, psychologically, it was just like, oh, here we go again, type of thing, so that's how that was. But yeah, so I was ending my 6th month, going into my 7th month when everything happened.
Okay, Erica, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, I want you to discuss, how you were able to prepare yourself mentally for the delivery, for seeing your daughter and knowing that you would have to bury her all within the short time. So we'll be right back after break. This break is sponsored by Slinger Haskell Funeral Home.
Joseph A. Slinger Haskell Funeral Service, Inc., located at 155 Sunrise Highway, Amityville, New York, 631-842-2788. We service the Amityville and surrounding areas, shipping foreign and domestic with cremation services available. With every service being catered to your personal needs, we here at Slinger Haskell Funeral Service will treat your family like it's our family. Again, we are located at 155 Sunrise Highway, Amityville, Long Island, 631-842-2788, or visit us at slingerhaskell.com.
You are listening to Determined Women of Destiny on Rude Radio. I am your host, Yvonne, the Motivator Man, and my guest is Erica Kirby. She is discussing her foundation, Madison Faith Foundation. And like I always say, thank you so much for tuning in. But if you just tuned in, why? You missed all the good stuff. But good for you that I do a replay so you can hear everything that you missed. Y'all know I'm a nut, and I do love y'all for tuning in. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support, and believe you me, it is my encouragement that keeps me going. Before we went to break, Erica and I was discussing, how she had come to have to get herself mentally prepared for seeing her daughter, of course, for the first time, holding her, and then knowing that she had to bury her. Now, how long did you have to process all of this and to do all of this before you had to say goodbye to Madison?
The good thing is that the hospital, they were very sympathetic, and so they allowed us as much time as we wanted. Now, I didn't take a long period. Well, I did take a long period of time, but I had to mentally get my mind wrapped around what was going on, because you had to make a decision. I had to make a decision like within split seconds, in a sense of, did I want to handle the final arrangements? Did I want the hospital to take care of everything? So it, just like you would, someone who's walked this earth, lived on this earth, you prepared for them to, you're never prepared for them to leave, but you have to make the preparations to send them off. I had to do the same thing for someone who I never met. I only experienced them from the inside, inward in. And so with this month being Black Maternal Health Month, I had to, kind of identify with those different emotions and different channels, and not just for myself, but my husband as well. So, they allowed us to spend time with her after she was delivered. So, I spent a couple of hours. I didn't do a lot because it just was heartbreaking to know that, when they wheeled her out, that was it. So I would say a couple of hours I spent with her,
And this was in the height of COVID. So, with everything else going on, now I deliver my daughter and I also have to bury her.
And that was the most traumatic experience. And the reason I say that is because this was, like I said, the height of COVID. And if you didn't know what was going on, the news did not cover everything that was going on, in the sense of they were missing bodies. I would call the morgue because she had to go to the morgue. I would call the morgue, and the first time I called, they couldn't find her. So, in my brain, I'm like, what do you mean you can't find her? I had to find a funeral home that would not extort us for money to pick her up. The funeral homes here in Queens and I believe I checked in Brooklyn, they would charge in like astronomical amounts of money. It was ridiculous. So I actually went out east and found a funeral home that would come and get her. And then that was another series of events because they had to get permission to cross county lines to pick her up and different things like that. So it was real traumatic. Then I had to wait. So she was delivered in April, the beginning of April, she was delivered, and she was not laid to rest until the end of April.
My goodness.
There was a slot open for her to even be, to be laid to rest.
And for my listeners that aren't in New York, when she says out east, she's talking about Long Island.
Yes.
In my neck of the woods.
Yes.
Long Island. So there is territories that you have to have jurisdiction to go into, so that even prolonged it. As a minister, a woman of faith, tell me, I know the foundation that you have because I know how you've grown up, and I know that you are saturated in the word of the Lord, and you're also a minister. But at this point, you absolutely had to pull on your faith. Tell us a little bit about that. And did your relationship with God grow stronger through this?
Absolutely. It's funny because you do know my upbringing. I literally, people say I was born in the pews. I literally was born in the pews.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I had to rely on my relationship with God. I couldn't rely on my mom's relationship, my aunt's relationship, my dad's relationship, my family's upbringing. I couldn't rely on that, but I had to rely on who God was and is to Erica, and what I know God to be. And had it not been for God, I don't think that I would have made it. I would have literally lost my mind, because like I said, it was traumatic just going through that, just looking at the monitor and to see an image of a lifeless child. And then to go through all of the natural child delivering labor experiences, contractions, water breaking, deciding whether or not you need an epidural or different things like that that we go through when delivering a child, and to know that you're doing all of this, but the end result is not what you expect it to be. And so I had to go back to the stories in the Bible where your faith was challenged, but and at the end of it, you came out victorious at the end of it. And that's what I relied on. It caused me to pray more. And I just kept saying, many nights I just would say, God, where are you in this? And he would assure me, I'm right there with you. I often read the story of Job, and when Job lost everything, but he never lost his faith in who God was. And so I pulled on those things, and they took on different meaning for me because I grew up hearing them. You hear other people share their faith and share their testimonies based on their experience, and you're like, wow, I don't think I could go through that. But you don't know how strong you are until you put in that fire or until you put in that situation. And now it's your time to see how you're going to handle it.
I remember growing up, my grandma, we'd go down south, right? And it's just her and I in the kitchen. I hear, bind here, loose here. And I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
And boy, now that I'm older and a little bit more seasoned, child,
now you bind it, loose it, right?
Right. You totally understand. Understand. So, I asked that question. I knew what the answer was, But I wanted our listeners to know, that foundation that you have was the strength, because even hearing you speak, you can hear the strength. It's been a year, it's still fresh, but there's just strength in, how you're speaking about this. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we want you to tell us a little bit about Madison Faith Foundation, how you're reaching women, how you're impacting them, and how they can contact you. We'll be right back.
Margaruite Bynum here, CEO of Supreme Manage. We are your strategic marketing and small business consulting firm. As a small business consulting firm, we provide owners with resources, advice, and planning designed to improve your organization's performance and efficiency. We assist businesses by identifying problems, implementing solutions, and reaching your goals. If that sounds like something you need, feel free to contact us at Supreme Manage on Instagram, and we will get back to you right away. See you then.
Vera Moore Cosmetics and Skincare was formed to empower all women to feel great about themselves for more than just a moment. When it comes to a flawless complexion, skincare is the key. Vera Moore Cosmetics and Skincare is for women of all ages and skin tones. Be the more fabulous woman you were born to be.
Welcome back to Determined Women of Destiny. I am your host, Yvonne, the Motivator Man. I have with me this evening Erica Kirby. She is talking about her foundation, and not just her foundation, Madison Faith. It is her foundation in God that has brought her through being able to survive the stillbirth of her daughter and be able to create a foundation to help other women. Please tell us about your foundation, Erica, and how it is impacting women.
Well, Madison Faith Foundation is very new. We are not even, the foundation is not even a year old yet. However, this foundation has created a platform for women to acknowledge their truth and their pain that have gone through the situation, and to not bury it, to not cover it up, and to not even feel shameful that they've experienced not just stillbirth, but they may have experienced a miscarriage, or they may have experienced some sort of infertility issues. And so the foundation is generally basically a platform where you can feel comfortable to share your experiences so that we can heal together, we can grow together, learn about different awarenesses, as well as different options that are out there for our community. Because our community, and when I say our community, I mean the African American, Black and Brown community, we are the top rated community that is impacted by this particular issue. One,
Absolutely.
because we do not take the initiative to find out about it, what's going on, what are our options, different things like that. Once we're pregnant, most of us, unfortunately, we don't have the proper health care. Right. So there are a number of issues that our community is faced with in this particular area, even down to racism when dealing with hospitals and different doctors, and knowing your body and knowing what your body is speaking to you and telling to you, but not being validated when seeking professional help. And so really, Madison Faith is really an awareness foundation to bring awareness to our community, to help others, so that if you do go through this, because we know that, unfortunately, someone else will go through this, but they don't have to go through alone. And it's okay to talk. That was one of the things with me going through it, which also helped to birth this foundation, was that I did not see many organizations that looked like me to discuss it, and not that I was uncomfortable with other communities speaking about it, but there's something about, you know, sitting down with your mom and your grandmother and your auntie and your girlfriends and, you know, having that shoulder to cry on and saying, girl, it's okay, you know, and so that's what I wanted to do. And although we're not solely for African American women, we are for women and families across the board. I just wanted to create a venue that looked like us for us.
Where we could be comfortable. I was a community health worker many, many years ago. And it has always been an issue with women of color and, you know, the immortality rate of our children, always. And one of the big things is the health disparities. It is still in the minds of some doctors that, you know, we're not able to speak what we feel. And what we feel is in our head, or we can take more pain than what we're saying. You know, it's always something. So thank you for developing a foundation that knows and understands that and will speak to that and be able to help women to discuss the situation with their doctors in such a way that, no, you will have to listen to what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Don't fluff away what I'm telling you. It brings to mind the doctor who went to the hospital and had the COVID symptoms of COVID. They sent her home. She's a doctor. She knew. She died the next day.
Wow. Yeah.
Because she was an African American woman. And what I believe, they did not believe what she was saying. You know, even though she's a doctor herself. She's in the medical field herself. We're not talking about a PhD in English. We're talking about another medical doctor to another medical doctor sent her home.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even in the infertility and pregnancy awareness community, there are so many stories of African American women who have lost children that could have been prevented had doctors listened to them. And I believe because of that, and you know, you hear these horror stories and it kind of strays you away from even letting your doctor know this is what's going on. Should I be feeling this? You know, and so I just was like, no, we have to, the numbers are so high. Like if you look at the percentage rate, I believe the African American percentage rate is almost like 10% compared to the other communities with access to health, to access to help rather, and different techniques and technologies and advancements to help prevent from these things. And so that just grieved my heart just in reading. And anybody that knows me knows that I love to research and find out different facts and different things like that. And we're not talking about 10, 15 years ago. We're talking as recent as 2018, 2017. You know, the numbers are still very high in our community. And they're rising. Yes, ma'am. They're rising because we don't take advantage. We don't know what's out there for us until it hits us.
And the sad part is that, like you said, it hits us and then a foundation is birthed and then we don't access the information that's there. So now you're like, you know, you're going out, you're giving information, you're like, please listen. And it's almost like you're beating your head up against the wall until a woman says, I need you. And then people realize why your foundation is important. Tell us how women can contact you. I know you said that, you know, you're in the early stages. The foundation is just a year old, but we still need to be able to contact you.
Well, you can reach me at the Madison Faith Foundation at gmail.com. I have recently launched a Facebook page, which is also called the Madison Faith Foundation. You can reach me at both of those interims.
Are you looking to do any events to give information? I know we're still in COVID hibernation. The world is opening up a little bit more. Are you looking to do any type of events? Are you looking to do like any Zoom conferences or information on that we can keep our eyes on and
Yes.
see what we can do?
Yes, I am looking to do some events, especially leading up to October, which is actually Infancy Loss Prevention Month. October 15th is the National Awareness Day. So leading up to October, there will be some dates. I don't have any specific dates in mind, but I am looking to do a couple of things that will be beneficial to everyone, it's not just for those who are experiencing this, but you may know someone who knows someone, and knowledge is power. So even if we just have this information that we can pass on, you may hear a conversation at the nail salon or at the beauty shop, or, when you're shopping and, oh, I know someone, I know about this, and have you tried this or whatever, how we do, ladies. We just share information, just kind of pass it on in our oral traditional sense. And so, yes, if you pay attention to the Facebook page, if you email me at the Madison Faith Foundation at gmail.com, I will respond to you and let you know what's going on. I can put you on our mailing list to make sure that your listeners are made aware of or kept abreast of what's going on with us.
Okay, wonderful. I know I'll be on the mailing list.
Yes, ma'am.
And ladies, please, all of you that are listening, reach out to Erica at Madison Faith Foundation. And please know, foundations are grassroots and donations are absolutely accepted. And you will help this young woman carry on her ministry, because it's a foundation. But being a woman of God and a minister, I may not have explained that earlier, but she is a minister of the word. So it's a ministry. And there are many women that will definitely need to run in the doors of Madison Faith, help her open doors, help her be able to give information and, not have to close doors because she hasn't been given open arms. So we want to, as determined women of destiny, applaud Erica, for not taking this lightly and knowing that she wasn't the only one that was going through this situation and wanted to help other women. Erica, I thank you so much for being on the show. You have given us so much information, and it was really good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am Yvonne, the Motivator Man. You've been listening to Determined Women of Destiny. The show is sponsored by Slinger Haskell Funeral Home, Vera Moore Cosmetics, and my creative producer is Rudy J. Breedy. As I always say, keep doing what you're doing until what you're doing gets done. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.